Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much, Witstart Academy, for this privilege to be able to speak to this audience or on your platform. And thank you so much, Soma. I'm very grateful for your time and the beautiful bio that you read. Thank you so much. So, my name is Falola Oyinlola, as she has read from the bio, and I'm a final year. Glory to God. I'm a final year nursing science student from University of Ilorin, and I'm also an entrepreneur. So most times when I get to speak to people about my journey in business and in school, I love to give a background story of how everything started. I didn't just wake up someday and become I found myself doing business or found myself in school. I believe my story is one really inspiring story. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the story. So growing up, I've always wanted to like work in the medical line, and I usually say this, that I don't think I'd like, when I was younger, I don't see myself in the business space at all, because I felt like it was really stressful. So growing up, I actually wanted to work in health sector, probably become a doctor, wear the coats and walk around the world, talk to my patients and ask, so how do you feel today and all that. Like, I just love the fame and the prestige that comes with being a doctor. But then along the line, things change. So I was initially studying biomedical engineering, University of Ilorin. I did that one for 1 year, and it was in my 100 level. I figured that my 100 level biomedical engineering, I figured that engineering was not my thing. It was not what I. It was like a case of what I ordered versus what I got. So in the middle of it, I think it was immediately after my first semester 100 level, I picked another jump form, and I decided I was going to write another jump and study nursing. And here I am today in my final year. But then I found myself doing business in my 100 level nursing, which is kind of crazy. And the way it started, so I'm a fashion enthusiast. I love clothes a lot. I just love to look good. So on this particular day, I was just going back to school, and then I saw this woman, just a roadside vendor, selling clothes. And I saw the clothes that was on a mannequin. It was a really nice clothes. I was like, oh, I would love to get this clothes. And then I branched her store, told her I wanted to get the turtleneck top. She gave them to me. So maybe she gave me the top. I saw some other clothes that she was selling, which looked really nice. And I felt that, okay, this clothes is something I would really love. Like, all the clothes that she was selling, they were clothes that I love. So I was just picking. They were thrifted, by the way. So I was just picking. I was picking, and I found myself that I've picked clothes worth 13,000 naira. I think 13,800 naira was how much I spent there. That was 2021. So I picked the clothes, and in my mind, I was like, I can't wear all these clothes. Like, it's a lot. So the idea of, oh, of course you can sell it, because I had so many thrift vendors in the hostel. So I said, oh, it's something I could sell. I got to the hostel, pitched this to my roommate. Now, this is where it is very important you have a community or a support system. I got to the hostel and I told my roommate about it. She didn't know, like, there was no vision, there was no plan, there was no branding, there was no business name. It was just something that just started. Like, it was just a night. It was 8 p.m. that night. It just started. Like, it was not something that I had planned. I didn't plan for business name. I didn't plan no business strategy or whatsoever. It was just something that just started. So I told my roommate, and she was very supportive. Her name is Prevail. I don't think she's here. She was very happy about the idea. She was my first customer. Prevail, my roommate, was my first customer, and she helped me. We washed, we ironed, and that was how we started the advertisement. We were going from room to room. Then later on, we figured that, okay, this thing, like, it was getting really big, so it was getting really serious. Then that was when the branding now came in. That was when the business name now came in. That was when, okay, let's do branded line on. What's the tagline? What is this? Let's have a logo and all of those stuff. It was in the middle of it that it came. I would even say that it was earlier this year that there was even more clarity to what FALOS Faculty, what we do in total. So this is just like, the whole story is just to tell somebody here that you don't have to have it all figured out to start. As long as you have the idea, you have the zeal, just start anyway. Your branding will meet you on the way. If you don't have money, but you have the idea, there's so many ways that you can. I think that's another topic on its own, but there are so many ways in which you can start something without having it all figured out in the beginning. Along the line, you would learn, because the truth business, it's not as if I enrolled for any class or whatsoever. I learned everything that I know today. I learned it along the line. Of course, you should not stay where you started from. You should develop, like, grow, and all of this stuff. So that's just the story behind how the business came. So my topic is balancing academics and building a business. That's, if I wrote it on my WhatsApp status, I think about 2 days ago, that if there's any question I get asked the most, I think this is the question a lot of people ask me, and I would give them the response in which I always give them. I won't like to bore you with too much Wikipedia definition. What is academics? What is business? What is balance? I think those are just basic things that I think everybody should know. For you to be here, you should know that. I want to believe that probably you are a student and you have a business that you're running, or you're a 9 to 5 and you have a business that you're running, or you just have two things going on together or going on simultaneously, and you find out that sometimes one tends to lack for the other. I'm going to give you what I've done over the years. I've been doing businesses 100 level, right? And from my 100 level to my 500 level that I am in right now, I've never had any carryover. So that's to show that to some extent there's a balance in between. Not to what's this word to use? Not to blow my own trumpet, but the last result that I saw was my 300 level second semester result, and all throughout it was just A's and B's that I had. I didn't have any C or any D whatsoever. That's to show that to some extent there's a balance. So I'm going to give you the format or the formula that I've used over the years, and I believe that if anybody uses this, it's definitely going to work for you. You would see results with it. So yeah, straight to the point. I learned this from the man that wrote How to Sell to Nigerians. His name is Alabi. Oh God, how am I forgetting his name? One Alabi, How to Sell to Nigerians. He wrote the book. What did you say?
Akin Alabi.
Yes, Akin Alabi. Thank you so much. So I learned this from Akin Alabi. It was just a physical this day. I had the opportunity to meet with him, and somebody asked him this question about balance, and he gave the answer, and that was when I knew that, okay, this is what I've been doing all along, but then I didn't have a definition to it. Balance, I'll say that if we look at this thing very well, there's actually no balance anywhere. If we should look at it, like putting your business and your academics on a scale, there's actually no balance between these two. What you do most times is prioritize, because at some point in life you figure that, okay, this business requires more time, or my academics require more time. So most times people tend to feed one and starve one. I've seen a lot of, this one is even very rampant, a lot of businesses owned by students. Once exam starts, they are off. Like, you can't order from them again. They are focused on their exams, and the next time you can order from them is after exam. And what this thing does is that it makes them inconsistent. Imagine I get my shades from you every time, then I need a new shade during exam, then I message you, then tell me, oh, you can't get a new shade till I'm done with my exam. I would leave you and I'll figure myself out, right? I'll find another vendor. So what I think everybody should do is to prioritize. And as much as you're prioritizing your tasks, you also have to, like, fine-tune it. So what I mean by prioritizing is, for me now, there are sometimes that my school is the most important, and I'm in that phase right now. The phase I am in right now is I have my professional exam coming up in November. So I know that the time that I will allocate for business is minimal to the time I'll allocate for my exams. Right now, what I'm focusing on is my exams, and my business is being handled by people that I've trained. I'm going to get to that part too. So we prioritize. At the point in your life, you should know that as a student, if you're writing exams are of higher priority than your business. So at this time, you should focus on your academics and let the business staff. But I won't say you should staff, because there's a solution for that too when you're writing the exam. So my second point is that you should delegate. Delegation is very, very important. I'm always very grateful to God the moment that I found this act, like delegating your tasks to people. It will make life so easy for you. See, you can't do everything, no matter who you are. See, be same both have all the power in this world. You can't do it all on your own. You need people. You need a community of people to help you, and that's where delegation came in. So I'm going to tell you a backstory of FALOS Faculty, of how it's left being a one-man business to having a team of people that work with me. So when I started FALOS Faculty, of course, I started on my own. It was just my idea, just my business, and I was doing it. Of course, like every student business owner, during exam, I leave my business and I focus on my schoolwork. But what I then did, because I didn't like the fact that my customers were sending me messages during exams, they want to buy something, but then I'm unable to attend to them. So this is what I did. At that point, the business had not grown to the level of employing people. Like, we were still very, 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 like, our revenue was so small, but I knew that we needed hands. Shift business, especially for the kind of business that I do, you can't do it on your own. Like, it takes a lot, from opening a bill, ironing it, and like so many steps that it entails. You need people, right? So this is what I did. I looked at the business. I looked at our business book. How much are we making in a month? How much are we making in a year? All right, we are making this in a month. How much can we pay out to somebody, like employing somebody? And we figured out, I think we started employing in 2021 or 2022. The amount that we had to pay was 15,000 naira monthly as at 2022. And 15,000 naira, who will take 15,000 naira from us? So we have to look for a demography of people that we know that they are in need of this money. And those are the people that we employed. So I was on the ons. I put out vacancy in front of the store. Sales rep needed. If you're interested, call this number, send it, like all those kind of. And we got people, a lot of people came in. I was shocked that, okay, there are people that actually want to work for 15K as at then. But then my demography of people, before I put out the vacancy, was that anybody that is going to work with FALOS Faculty at that particular point where we were in, they were secondary school students. I wanted people, students that just finished secondary school, like fresh out of secondary school, waiting for admission. The kind of life that I live, I know that, okay, I'm employing these people, number one, to work for me. But apart from the fact that they are working for me, I'll be impacting their lives, right? So it's not just that, okay, you are working and at the end of the month, you are getting a salary. Apart from the salary that you are getting, I want it to be that I've trained you such that if you want to start a business, you can start on your own. So we got secondary school students, did interviews for them. The ones that we think fit into the criteria that we needed, we employed them. And that was how we started the employment, whatever, of FALOS Faculty. So right now, I think we have about, aside myself, we have about 5 people. Yeah, I think we have about 5 people working with FALOS Faculty. So that way, if I have exam tomorrow, we can post, like they can take orders today. I remember there was a day where it was a semester exam, and me and my classmates were about to enter the examination hall. So one of my classmates was with her phone, and she came to me and she was like, "Are you the one posting?" I said, "Post, girl, like we are about to enter examination, or I can't be posting." She was like, "Oh wow, that's nice, oh, that I'm about to write the exam, but then my business is also not lacking." That's the power of delegation. If you can, please do find people to reduce the stress on you. So if I'm not available, of course I know that my business is definitely going to run. It's going to keep running. So when you have exams, you know that, okay, there is somebody on your, if it's an online business, you know that there's somebody handling your online customers, right? So apart from delegation in the business wise, delegation even academically is also very important. So when the semester resumes, I know that most times probably I might not have time to be able to attend to some business stuff, and to be able to attend to school. So of course, school just resumed, right? Lectures might not be really intense from the beginning. So most times I tend to like stab it. Please don't stab classes. So sometimes I tend to like attend some and leave some. So in this time, I have friends, I have classmates that I know that they are very diligent with school. You know, everybody's path is different. It's like all of us, there's a circle, right? And there's something in the middle, and everybody's just trying to like walk around the circle. That's how it is. So some people, their own this thing is just academics. Some people is business. Some people is career. The earlier you find out, the best for you. So I know those people in my class. I know that okay, this person is inclining towards academics. I'm friends with everybody in the class. So once I resume back, I know that okay, this is the person to meet for so notes. This person to meet for assignments. So that way you have more time to yourself. Another thing that I think you can do to have more time to yourself is delegating little tasks. Tasks as little as laundry. So you know when you want to wash clothes, especially if you pile your clothes, if you want to wash clothes, probably it might take you about 2 hours to wash clothes. That kind of task you can delegate it to somebody, right? Where you have more time to yourself. So delegation, proper time management too is also important. Also part of delegation, it can be as far as having somebody to wash your clothes, buying food. Yeah, buying food. For me now, when I resume into school, it's usually during exam period. When I move to my hostel, it's usually during exam period. So I know that I have probably sometimes 1 week to study intensively, sometimes 2 weeks to study intensively. So for stuff like that, for food now, feeding, sometimes I cook. But when I see that my time can't afford me, I buy food. So it's as like just like trying to find small time in between everything that you do. So the last point that I'll give is proper time management. I can't overemphasize this time management. But in a world where every social media has, don't let me say it has done more harm than good. Of course, it has done so many good, but then it has done harm too. Time that you used to scroll on Instagram, scroll on TikTok, on Twitter, join the gist and everything. I think if you allocate your time properly, it will help you a lot. More like, okay, we have 24 hours in a day. How many hours of sleep are you having in a day? Even if it has to go as far as cutting down the sleep, not like reducing the. So let's say, for example, you're sleeping for 8 hours in a day. In the 8 hours in a day, are you sleeping for are you cutting it to probably like 5 hours, 3 hours? Probably you sleep 5 hours at night, then during the day you sleep 3 hours. As far as your time on social media, I won't say don't do social media because I do it. Do it, but then let it have a limit to which you use it. Or if you're using it so frequently, ensure that you are making money from it. Don't let it be that you're just consuming. People are giving you, because social media feed is like food. Content is like food and you're consuming it. Don't let it be that you are the only one consuming the food on social media. And ensure that you too, you're also feeding people with food and you're making money from it along the line, right? So yeah, I think that's just the main points that I have. So at this point, I think I'd like to welcome questions. I don't know how this is going to be, but maybe somehow it's going to help us with the question and answer section.
Okay. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Ma. Thank you for all the insights you have shared. Before we move into the question part, we still have like a panel discussion. So we'll get back to the questions. But right now, I just want to really emphasize on some of the points we mentioned, and one of which is time management. I know that most of us have heard it like countless times. Manage your time, to-do list, and all of the likes of those kind of things. But one thing that we like you mentioned, it's about prioritizing your objectives and your goals per season. When school resumes at first, everything is just going to be like really chill, right? There's not going to be rush. In that space of time, you can know how to should I say structure or plan yourself in a way that okay, when it's exam season, there will not be so much workload for you to like start battling up and down with. And also having a community of people. Most of us, especially business owners, sometimes it feels like, oh, they are in a different world of their own. They don't even relate with like people in the class. you know they're just like business minded, want to just sell their perfumes and leave the class. And that way you're not going to have community of people that support you, I mean, in terms of academics. Because like you mentioned, you can easily walk up to people now and ask them for their notes, and they'll be willing to help, and that's because you have fostered that relationship with them. So building relationship is also very important as a student entrepreneur. So I don't want to go much into this because I know that our panelists also have more to say. So I would invite Mr. Akin to just share a few light on this, and also if there's any personal experience that he would love to share with us. So
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the privilege to also share. And I think I learned quite a lot from the section of Ms. Falola Oyinlola. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I believe everyone on the call also got one or two things from that. And it's super important. And I really also want to congratulate you for that. It's a lot to have such such to have such a huge assignment on your hand. I mean your business, and still, be doing well academically. It's something that a lot of people need to learn from and tap from your grace, right? So thank you so much for that. Okay, from my own end, I would just say everything that you mentioned is the major part of it. And maybe I'll just add one more thing to it, which is one of the things that helped me. And like you said, I should share probably a personal story. I think while I was on campus, I also had the opportunity to do multiple things at the same time. So I was running a kind of self employed business. It's not really a proper business. So I had a skill and I was really making money with it back then as a graphic designer, and it really pays a lot. And most of that time, I also had quite a number of responsibilities also in my church and all that. So it was really hectic for me at that time. But one of the things that I learned to do, alongside delegation, alongside uh, prioritizing, what needs to be prioritized at that time, is also to understand how I learn and not to follow other people because this is how they do things. So I realized early that, okay, I think I should understand that I have so much on my hand and I should not behave like a normal student, probably that just comes to learn. You understand? So my free time is not their free time. You understand that? So if somebody has about 3 hours in a day, I should not behave like I have as much as that. So I should utilize my free time to also be able to do quite a number of things. And also, I should understand myself. I should not just join people because, okay, this person reads in the night. I should also read in the night. You understand? I might be affecting my own productivity because I still have a lot of other things to do. So I had to come to that reality. Okay, what works for me in terms of reading, so that I will be able to read maybe within short time and I will assimilate. So okay, I had to learn that. I think I gain more when I read alone. I gain more when I read with music. You understand that kind of thing? I gain more when I read at night instead of just staying in the midst of people, following friends that, okay, want to read here, want to read there. So that thing really helped me a lot to also be able to do well academically. I also did my best academically then, right? And I did well. Yeah, I did well and I graduated really well. And those are the things that I put together. I was able to understand myself that I have two responsibilities at hand. As much as I have my primary assignment, I should not behave like somebody that has only that. And that's one thing that I also encourage students that run business. You understand? So, after class, probably people still walk around, they just buy things, stay around for about 2 hours. You don't have that luxury of time because you have a lot to still do. You understand? And also, lastly, is the kind of people that I work with, my circle of friends is also very important, because if you move with people any, that really don't see something special about what you're doing, right? It's more like it reduces your effectiveness on maybe probably your business. You understand? So you need to work with people that understand, oh, this is what you do. And that is also one thing that Ms. Falola mentioned, that having a good circle around you, they can, because mine, that was what happened actually. They were the one that actually supported me academically then, because I could remember like one particular example. There was a day like that I had a client, I think, because I work with a couple of international clients at that time. I can't forget that day. We were having an exam. So there was a delivery that I was meant to make. Uh, it was more like a peak period in that company. It's a company in the US. It's a football, I think it's a popular football company in the US. Sorry, basketball company in the US. So there was no light. So I had to come to school. We did a night class. And while everyone was reading, we're having exam the next day. It's not that I'm unserious, but I still had to do that because I know this exam is also for few, what's it called? And if I am not able to deliver that for what they want to do that next morning, it's really going to cost me my job. You understand? As at that time, and I know how much they are paying me. So I was really confused, but thank God for the kind of friends that I have around me. So, things that I would have studied for about maybe 3 hours, they sat down and they know how I learned. I learned by, key points and all that. They sat down themselves reading and they were putting it in, when you read a bulk of a note, then you write the most important things. So they were giving me key points and all that. So they wrote it. There's something they call it more like an A4 paper. They were able to write majority of those things out. So the 3 hours that I lost instead of reading, when I came back, I was able to really, they brought me up to speed in that moment because they realized that, oh, this guy have to do this. So, okay, let me read this, translate it in a way that I can quickly understand then. It brings it back. Thank God I have people like that around me, and it really helped so much. And I mean, even up to like few hours to the exam, I had to just collect some of their jottings, just go stay in an isolated area and read. And trust me, I really did well in that exam because I knew that I have people that they had my back, understanding that this guy is not just a lazy guy. He just had to do what he had to do at that time, and he was able to do it. And now we have to support him. So I think those three things, like I said, let me mention them again. Number one, that worked for me is understanding that, okay, my time is not every other person's time. So I should not feel bad that I don't have time to, to walk around, to stay around on campus and just be doing like normal student. I have something else I need to handle, right? So most times you really don't see me just walk around. Some of the events that happen in school, I really will not be there. I'm just in front of my laptop because I have something to handle. You understand? So I have to come to that reality that, okay, in quote, I'm a special student. I'm doing two things at the same time. So every free time that I have to dedicate so that I don't get choked. And number two is that understanding how to put my academics into perspective so that I don't do it the way every other person does it, so that I don't eventually get to crash my academic because you are reading this time, so I have to read this time. You go to this tutorial, so I have to be there too. You are going this Saturday, I have to be there too. And eventually, I'm just there 2 hours. I'm not learning anything because this is not working for me. And the third one is I had supportive people around me, people that understood what I was into at that moment, and they were willing to support me. Sometimes you send me past question. Okay, Ayobami, have you seen this? I'm like, I've not seen this. And we know you will not see it because you have not even joined this group. Okay, this is what they said there. Oh, Ayobami, did you listen to this voice note? This man came, he gave us so hope. I did not listen to. Okay, this is it. You understand? So people like that, understanding the state that I was at that time, it really helped me. And thank God we all came out really good at the same time. So those three things, yeah, it worked for me very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akin. That was really, really insightful. And you really mentioned important points, and everything still revolves around having, understanding yourself first, then having a community of people that can support you either in your business or in your academics. So I would like to call on the second panelist that we have today, which is Mr. Samson, who also share from his personal experience and any other insights before we move to the question and answer. So, Mr. Samson, you have it.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Can we all hear me? Miss Summer, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, I can hear
Oh,
you.
it's so nice to see you back again. We've really missed you a lot. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
okay, like few days ago, me and Mr. King, that's the CEO, we're having a discussion around some things. And he mentioned something, and I found it to be really true. Among some of, let me say, some of our friends, while we're on campus, some people were just so focused on academics, which is good. Don't get me wrong, please. If you're a student here, please take your book serious, or else it won't be good if you don't do well in school. However, as good as it is to focus a lot on your academics, try as much as possible to get something doing. Either learn a trade or learn a skill, because you don't know when that skill or that trade will will be your source of income, or let me say will be something that will save you at the end of the day. Let me give you a very good example. While I was on campus, for people that are a little bit close to me, while I was on campus, I tried to like learn one or two things too. Then it was me and Mr. King, we're kind of close, church, school, So then I normally see him do, in fact, he was part of the people that inspired me to also start graphic design then. So immediately I saw, he was, boy, what are you doing now? Then he was doing this cartooning of pictures and all that. And he was really making money from it. But it was just out of the fact that this is interesting, that I started learning too. But I was not really good at it the way he was. In fact, he was getting gigs to the point that he cartooned. If you guys know this, Wole Agba, this popular Yoruba comedian, he cartooned the picture, and the man even saw it, and the man was so amazed, and through that, it shows how good he was with it. So, inspired by the things that he has done and the things I see him do, gives me no reason why I should not also learn one or two things myself. So then he was trying to balance. In fact, let me tell you something. I'm sorry, Mr. K, for saying this. The worst person that you can borrow his note while you were on campus is Mr. King, because what he wrote, him himself cannot read it. What he wrote, him himself cannot read it. But it is so. I'm serious. You know, when you borrow somebody's, see, if you want to have a dick, just go and borrow his notes. But despite that fact, he is a very intelligent person. What you guys be studying in 3 days, you can finish it in 3 hours. He's so helped by the Lord. Okay, so what I'm just trying to drive at is that, you see, association matters a lot. You see, just like what Mr. Akin said, the kind of people you surround yourself with will really determine how well you will go in life, or the kind of let me say, time that you will be able to buy. No, he was able to buy time because of the kind of people he surrounded himself with. The kind of people he surrounded himself with, like, understood the kind of person. We understood the kind of person he was. All of us that were working together on campus then, we knew our strengths. We knew what we are good at. Some people, if you go to night class, they are just there to sleep. They are not there to study. So just understand your own pattern and try to have a guideline that you follow. Don't just follow multitude. Even if you want to follow multitude, try and follow multitude that will help your life, not the ones that will destroy your life. And that's the truth. For instance, now, I remember then we will go for night class at the fellowship, and opposite the fellowship then there was a clubhouse. The same way we are going for night class to go and study at the fellowship because of the light they have in that side. The same way we see some other students entering the club. So everybody will determine what they want, the way they want their life to be. And again, talking about association, if you see something in someone and you so much admire it and you don't have it yourself, it is best to try and move close to the person without having any bad intent, but with the willingness to learn that thing, and learn to collaborate sincerely. You don't know the power of collaboration. Your strength. I once told one of I guess it should be on the call too. That's Rabbit Faculty. That's Mr. Favor. I once told him something. Maybe you could remember. I told him that it is best if we work together, and my weakness is your own strength that you can use to cover up for me, and your own strength possibly can be your own weakness rather can be my own strength. When you have people like that around you, it will really help you a lot, and will really help you to cover up for some certain things that might be your own shortcomings. So you see, balancing school and business, sincerely, there is no one size fits all for it. It is you that you will actually sit down and like try to understand the kind of person you are. Some people, they are not really the business type. They might be the skill type, like someone that can acquire a skill and make money with the skill. While some people, they might not have this thing to learn a skill, but they can do trade. Trade is a skill. Oh, sincerely, selling is a skill. You won't believe what a salesman can do. So just try as much as possible to either learn a trade or you learn a skill. When you learn a trade or learn a skill, we give you the opportunity to like have an edge over other people, and also understand yourself, especially when it comes to academics. Like I remember then, maybe Mr. King can also remember. Then if we go for night classes, there are some certain guys that normally come for night class from, let's say, 8 that we get to the school till morning. These guys will not read. They will disturb the whole class. They will disturb everybody, and at the end of the day, they will sleep. So imagine someone coming to waste like 5 hours or 8 hours of their life just to come and disturb others and then eventually sleep. And by the time they go back, we went for night class. Who are you deceiving? You are deceiving yourself. So it is just best that you understand yourself. Surround yourself with people that can help you. Surround yourself with people that understand you. And if you see something that you really love that someone does or someone is into, bring down yourself, irrespective of let's say age difference or level difference. Don't say because this person is in 100 level, I cannot stoop so low to go and learn from him. No, it is whatever you learn that will be yours at the end of the day, not the uh, not your ego. So it is just best that you bring down your ego to learn one or two things. It's just like when we had Mr. Fawaz the other day. Even as a content creator myself, I learned a lot from what he was saying. I didn't say, we should be not content creator. We also are content creator now. No, but there are some things I was able to pick, and now there are some things that I know that no, guy, you need to work on these things to get a better result in what you're doing. So my advice is just that understand yourself and know the kind of people you work with. Thank you. Don't let me take much of our time.
Mr. Samson, thank you so much. So I'll open the floor for us to ask questions. If you have any questions you need to ask, this is time for you to ask it. You can you can on your video and just talk. You can also type it in the chat box, either one you choose. So yeah, let's start with the questions. Okay, while we await questions from the audience here, I have some questions I collated that I believe might be pressing questions to every other person here. So I'm just going to allow any of you, our guests and the panelists, to give answers individually on these questions. So the first one would be, if you would go back in time, what is one thing you would do differently while managing both your business and academics? Like what do you think that you would do differently, maybe as a form of improvement, or something that you would not have done? Let me put it that way. What do you think you would do differently while trying to manage both your business and your academics?
Thank you so much, Summer. Thank you so much, Mr. Samson and Mr. Ayobami, for that wonderful session. What I would do differently. So I think I've never thought of that question before, but when you asked, I was really trying to think of what I would have done differently. Maybe nothing really, but maybe trying to execute some of the things that I'm doing now earlier, because earlier I was like, oh, probably it's too early, probably like let's just do it on a low scale, don't let us do too much. I think I would have really done too much if I'm able to like go back in time. Um, as students who run businesses, most of the times, this is what I've figured out. Most students who run businesses run it because they need money. Like I've heard a lot of students say this. They do it because they need money. A lot of students do it because they need money. But I'd like us to shift our mindset from money. Of course, you're making money from the business, but that should not be your mindset. Like a mindset shift needs to take place where the way you picture your business is not on a small scale, is not on a scale where people know that this business is owned by a student. Like the kind of doings or the kind of things that your business will do, let it not be easy for people to guess that it's a student that is handling this business. And that's why you have to like have a global mindset in mind. The fact that you're a student does not mean that you can't like do big things. You can't be producing on your own, be shifting ground, causing chaos in the business space. Like we need to move our mindset from that I'm just doing it for money to building a household name, like building an empire in the sense of it. So if I'm to go back in time, probably things that I did like later, I would have really loved to have done them earlier so that I've moved the business further from where it is now. So yeah.
Wow, that was really, really, really a strong answer. I hope we are taking note too, because all of these things should not just go inside one ear and pass through the other. Make sure you are taking something down. Okay, I'll just move to the next question I have. I still expect us to drop questions either in the chat box or you can also ask. Just like go ahead, no restriction, right? So while we await questions, I still have more I've collated. I'm going to ask our panelists here. So, what role did your fellow students or peer entrepreneurs play in your business journey? How important is collaboration and networking within the student community? I remember Mr. Samson talk about collaboration. So how, like, when we talk about collaboration, networking, people just have this vast concept of, especially networking. People just think, oh, it's going to events and taking the contact of the guest speaker or somebody that you admire. That's what most of us have termed networking today. And I just want to like hear from our guests, how, as a student entrepreneur, how should you embrace networking, like to make it impactful and relevant to you at that level as a student entrepreneur? So I would think I would let Mr. Aki answer this one.
Well, I will still go back to what Ms. Falola said the other time about your business, not just being silent about it. Because let me tell you a story, just a short one. One of the things that I learned to do early is not to call my business a student business. And that's one thing that is the foundation of this question that you ask, because over time you will have noticed that a lot of people, they try to devalue student business. They try to look at it in a way that it's not qualified to be called a full-time business. It's not, it's not, it does not have the quality and characteristics to be able to stand in the midst of other business. And that's actually a lie. And I had to drive back to my own personal experience, and I realized I actually caused some of those things. And that's one thing that I will give to us as an advice. Then I'll link it together. So I realized that if your business is still a student business, you'll be limited in the reach of people that you can connect with, because there's something called perception. So when I see that you are still a student, there is a thought, there's a way I look at you in a way. I can still appreciate what you do, but it does not give me that confidence to be able to see that you are valuable enough to be in connection with me. And one thing that I've learned is that it's value that connects people for the long term. You understand? Except you want to be a parasite to another person. So when they see you, it looks like you just want to lynch on them, and you're just looking for them to ride on their influence to be able to get relevant. And that's one thing that affected me over time. As a student business, that's the first thing I tell people. I'm a student of so, and I'm doing this. Meanwhile, I should actually bring the first one first. Nobody really cares about whether you're a student. What you want to project is the most important thing. So let me say that story. There was a time I was still a student, then I had to travel to Lagos for an event. Uh, so then I realized that about 95% of people that are there, they actually graduates, right? They've finished their NYC a long time ago. So it's a business event, and everyone there just came to to learn about business, learn about entrepreneurship, learn about finance and all that. Then I realized that this circle of people, I really don't belong there, but I had to devise a means to make myself belong in that place. So what I mean by that is that I had to sit down with myself that, Ayobami, you are not a student, you are a business owner, right? And you have to appear as a business owner here. So from there, I traveled from Ilorin just to come to Lagos for that conference. So anything University of Ilorin, whatever was called, it is not even in the conversation. So everybody that I was meeting, I was talking to them as a professional that I am. I have 3 years in graphic design already, and I've done a lot. And I'm telling you, from that particular place, I was able to, talk to people, and trust me, that was one of the places that I made, I can't count how many millions of naira that I made from that event, from connecting with people, because there was a way they saw me, and there was a way I presented myself. And that is also an issue from on students' part. I see a lot of students, when I went to the page of Miss Falola, nobody can actually think that you're still studying, because that looks super professional. Do you understand what I mean? It's a business, right? You just happen to be in school, right? And that business, as much as it is with you, is an entity on its own, and you should not be pressed down under the influence of being a student. Some people, 95% of what comes on their status is whether they are going to class, they are writing notes, all that. Everybody understands that you're a student, but can you just lower the identity a little bit and project the most important one, which is your professional side of things? People want to do business with a business person, not a student. So let me link it back. It now started reshaping how I project myself to people, right? They don't want to do business with a student. They want to do business with an entrepreneur, somebody that is a business owner, right? So every of my page, you understand, except that you're making money with your studentship, I don't think it's really necessary to be all out there. Please hear me, except probably you are using it probably to create content, to do something. I'm not sure it's really necessary. If you have a business, that should be the main focus, because when somebody comes around, that's what they want to see. They want to relate with your value. And that's the most valuable thing you can give to them. So probably a content creator, a voiceover artist, you do design, you do all these things, right? It's not your pictures they want to see. They want to see your product. They want to see your services. They want to connect with your value. And those things help in networking. So coming back to end my story, right? From that point, I started seeing some, uncommon confidence, because now I am sitting in the midst of professionals, right? Till today, some of them don't even know, and I still retain that connection even way after I have left university. But I was able to keep it. I was able to even sustain it at that time, because whatever connected us together is our business. I don't need to bore you with whatever is not your problem. So networking is important when you do it the right way. So the reason why some networking, and what Summer said, that some people, the reason why you just collect numbers, some of them you even call them, they don't answer you, because they just want to see somebody, people that should be your colleague, eventually they start acting like your mentors. I mean, people that should give you deals, people that should give you projects, people that you really, in quote, you can even know more than them. But your status at that time is just a student. Some of them, you even have more experience than them. You just happen to be in. Don't let that be the limitation, right? It's not their business. In fact, it might not even show up in any conversation at all, because it should not. must not, for example, right? There was a day I mistakenly, I just told somebody that I'm writing an exam. I was like, he said, are you a student? Like, it's none of our business, right? We employed you to do this. There's nothing, right? If you can't do it, just leave it alone. Like, it's not being emotional. You're a student. We didn't hire a student. On your CV, on everything, your portfolio, you didn't put under it that, sorry, I'm a student. It's none of anybody's business. They hired somebody to give them value, and you should give them. And that's why I also love what I guess become mentioned when you talk about delegating, right? So that your business runs as a proper business, not that I'm just doing it to survive. Whenever I'm not available, it's not available, right? If you start seeing it that way, it will affect the way the way you relate to people, and in turn, the way you network, right? So networking can now start. So if I now want to talk about networking from that plane, right? Networking is very important, right? But you need to have the right, status to be able to network, or else it will still keep going down the drain. Some people, you even send a message, they can't even reply you, right? Like I said, you keep looking like a parasite. You understand? Most of them, they just keep encouraging you, and some of them, they have the deals that you can do, but there is that entrance, there is that approach. It's very important. If you are a business owner, you're a business owner. If you own this is what you do primarily. Every other thing that you do is secondary. When you're in school environment, you're a student. But when you're outside there, you are a business owner. And lastly, let me mention that some of us, we don't attend events outside our campus, right? I had to come to that reality that, okay, my life does not revolve around this campus. You understand? It's just a 4 years course, and at the end of the day, we're done. Whatever I'm going to live the rest of my life doing should be what should take my moment at the same time. You understand? So I started looking for events that are even out of the state I'm studying. I started traveling for events, right? I'll see some tech events, it's free. I'll just go there, go and sit down, connect with people. What do you do? I don't, sorry, I'm a student of Ilorin studying agriculture. Then I'm doing graphic design. It does not matter. I am a graphic designer, right? This is my creative, what's it called? This is what I do. That's what they want to connect with, because what they remember at home is that I met a fantastic graphic designer that has 4 years experience. Not that I met a University of Ilorin student that is a 400 level. They are not planning anything in agriculture, and I'm not valuable to them at that moment. So I go to events, I go to trainings, I just attend, even online, physically. And from there, I started connecting with people, because when they go back home, right? So, and that's the most important one. When everybody goes back home, what will make them find your number and call you back is whatever you shared to them, right? So that it doesn't look like there's another person that just want to come and do something. So when they told you who they are, and you are bringing your studentship, it does not align, right? You told them what you do professionally, right? You put yourself on that plate, and trust me, it's going to really take you in a way. It's going to really help, your what's it called? Your networking game. And lastly, collaboration, right? That's why I said everything starts from your status, the kind of people you collaborate with. Some of you, sorry to say, if you check the circle of people that you work with, right, they're just students. It's good, but it's also not good. You should not just have students. Who are the people that the only thing that connects you is business, not studentship? Some people, it's just students, then by chance you are connected by business. Some of you don't have friends more than your institution. It's not a good thing, right? If you, let's say, if you are in Unilag, you can actually have somebody from, let's say, maybe Lagos, maybe Lasso or something like that, and its business are connected. You guys went to an event and you saw yourself, right? You might probably not even talk to the point of school, but you guys are business friends. So it's very important, and I think it fosters collaboration. It helps mentorship. It helps what's it called, networking, even help you to progress in your career very fast, right? When people now hear that, oh, so you were in school at that time, so you were serving at that time, so this is what you do, this is that, all right, they'll really be shocked, and eventually you've gotten all you need, you've been able to connect, and some of them you've even done their project in a way that, right, a normal person can't do it. Somebody will say you need 5 years experience, and you're like, I just came back from school. I just came out from school. Where will I get it? It's just been unprofessional, right? You have it. You've been doing this while you're on campus, right? It does not necessarily doesn't mean that you don't have the experience. You have it. You're just doing this one on the side. So wherever it is necessary, please project your image as the profession that you do, and then you see how you network properly and you get a lot of people. So both networking, collaboration, they are very important and necessary for student entrepreneurs if they use it properly, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akin, for sharing with us. Our time is going fast. I'll just drop this last question for Mr. Samson, and then if we don't have more questions, we'll round up on this. So, yeah, the question is, Mr. Samson, please, can you hear?
Yes, I'm with you. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So the question is, how do you deal with deadlines in both your business and school life? What's your own strategy for managing conflicting priorities? Let's say in a case whereby you have an order to make, maybe a very, very important order to fulfill, and then there is a person, all of these lecturers that will just show up and be like, if you don't come for this class, you will not be in the attendance, and all of those other things they tell us. So how, if you're in such situation, how would you like prioritize, right? Like, how would you deal with those deadlines? Yeah.
Okay. Um. Okay. Let me answer the question this way. When I was on campus, University of Ilorin, um, I was into quite a number of business, but one of the businesses that usually puts me in tight corner that I have to meet up with deadlines is my rabbit business. I told you I had to collaborate with Rabbit Faculty to do the business. Sorry, Miss Summer, can you mute your mic? It's like your plate is making sound.
I'm so
You
sorry.
don't you don't want to give us food, but okay. All right. So what we normally do then, because at times we had to like meet up with a lot of orders. When I mean a lot of orders, in fact, uh it was so overwhelming at some point that we don't really have much time to sleep. At times we have to like wake up as early as 4 to start preparing, to start grilling, just to make sure that we're able to meet up with the supplies and the people that have placed order. Then we put a structure around it. We made it in such a way that if you want to buy grilled rabbit or you want to buy rabbit meat, once your order exceeds so time, you can't get your order at so time. So let's say once you don't place order before 8 p.m., you can't get the order anything in the morning. Your order will probably be coming in the evening. So doing that helped us a lot to like put structure around meeting up with deadlines, especially from our customers, or let me say our clients. For instance, perceived value too matters a lot. The way people perceive you. If you are the type that any little thing, don't worry, I will meet up. At times, it's good to show how diligent you are, how you can actually meet up with critical deadlines. But one of the things that is good to do is that don't show, especially when you're in business, don't show that, if I don't do this particular order, or if I don't take up this particular order, I will die. That's how some of us undo some of these things at times. You will see it as though, if I lose this money now, that's the end. No other business is coming my way, or no other person will order anything through me, or no other person will do business through me. No, let them know that, okay, you have working time. And not just that you have working time, you make sure that you give them the best, because your work will actually speak for you. Let me give you a very good example. There was a day, why I say it is good to put structure around whatever you are doing. There was a day that me and So I will use Mr. Favor a lot because we actually did a lot of business that put us in tight corner. So there was a day that we had to like meet up with a particular order. I don't know, maybe you can remember. He's on this call. So the man is one allergy like that in Ilorin. You know this allergy that they would like to just do faji in the evening. You know that kind of a thing now. They want to eat stew. They want to eat grilled meat. So we got the order very late. So because we got the order very late and because of the money that this is a sharp money, you know that kind of a thing. Now let's quickly just do this order and deliver it to this man. So we collected the order and we promised to meet up by, I guess we got the order around 4. I guess we were still inside school, if I'm not mistaken, and we had to deliver this order by, I guess, 8. Before you come out of school, because we do all our processing fresh. We don't really do stilled meat or this thing. So we kill the rabbit, we grill it, and doing this takes time a lot. So because we were rushing just to make sure that we meet up, we ended up delivering a meat that was not done. Imagine delivering a meat that is yet to be done. So we just try to like this thing, we must make sure that we impress this person and meet up with other. So at the end of the day, the man was like, oh, this meat, we just gave him raw meat. So it was really embarrassing because had it been, we just like tell the person that, please, it is best you allow me to deliver this thing maybe an hour ahead of the time that we actually fixed it to be. It will have been better than we trying to meet up with the order even before time. At the end of the day, we ended up like, but the man actually understood the fact that we were rushing just to meet up. But I didn't mean we just stayed back a little, it wouldn't have happened. So it is just best that you put a structure around whatever you are doing. When you put a structure around whatever you are doing, it will help you to be able to meet up with deadlines. It will help you to be able to like, something that you've been doing over and over. It is much easier for you to know what will likely happen if you don't meet up with, if you don't if you do something this way, the probability of probably you failing if you do something this way, and probability of you like getting the best result if you do it this other way. So just try as much as possible to understand your business and put a very good structure around it and have a perceived value. For example, now, if you go to some certain places to do something, let's say if you place an order that, okay, I want this thing, they will give you a time that the order will get to you. And if you want express, you know that you are paying more value for the express. That's probably, let's say, express delivery. You are paying more money to do that. So structure helps you to, it's when you put structure into whatever you're doing, it will make you to be less desperate. Like you will look less desperate. And it is when people notice that this one is desperate, that is when they will like drop the value that they place on you, But at times it is just best that you don't look desperate to sell. Look at a very good example, supermarkets. You can't enter a supermarket now and start pricing something. How will you sell this thing 2.5? Why don't you agree for 1.2? No, they've already fixed it. This thing is fixed and we are giving you the best. So we can't reduce our price to any other amount. This is the price tag. But if you go to another roadside shop, one this is 2.5. No, I cannot pay 2.5. Let me pay 1,000. I'll Ghana. Oh yeah, now pay 1.1. You people now be dragging it. It's because once it starts, like once you guys enter that kind of conversation, it will automatically indicate that the value of this thing is not up to the 2.5 that this person initially called this thing. The same thing still happened to me today when I went to get something in town. So you must have a perceived value and you must not reduce your value. I'm not saying that don't be negotiable, don't get me wrong. That I'm not saying don't let your whatever you are doing be negotiable. That's not what I'm saying. But let there be a standard and a perceived value that will be gotten from whatever you are giving in return for the value. So this will help you a lot, especially when it comes to let's say meeting up with deadlines and also maintaining the value of whatever you are doing, even as a student. So that will really help a lot. Even when we're doing our business, some people never knew we were students. So they never knew, and we were doing big businesses with people, as at then business running to hundreds of thousands. So imagine what it will be now in this day, probably in millions. So it is actually very good when you put structure around whatever you're doing. So thank you. I hope I'm able to. So I saw a question in the chat box, and I believe probably the person was talking about what I said earlier. The person was talking about friends, making friends, or maybe the question is directed to Mr. King. So you see, the best thing is just to understand yourself and know the kind of people you love to work with. So thank you. Don't let me
Thank
take much
you.
of our time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Samson. Very, very insightful comment. I mean, structure is very, very important in anything that we are doing. And thank you for mentioning that. So I'm just going to read that question. I think that will be the last question we have today. So it says here that, sir, I live with people that doesn't encourage me and what I do. What do I do? Also, I don't have much friends. Maybe any self. I don't really like to move with people, but I'm getting rid of this and trying to improve on creating relationship with people. How can I do better? Also, how do I delegate among my fellow students? How do I present it to them? Um, do we get the question, please? So I don't know who exactly the question is directed to, but if any of us has an answer to it, it's very much appreciated. So I'm just going to open it. Please, do we get the
Okay.
question?
Yes, I got the question. Let me just say one or two things about it. You see, in life, the little that I personally have noticed is that no matter how good you are or no matter how bad you are, you have someone interested in you. Even if you are a higher killer than you are killing somebody, you still have somebody that will be interested in you. So, but the best thing is just for you to understand the kind of person you are, number one. When you understand the kind of person you are, it will help you to know the kind of people that will help you. For instance, now, I was talking about something about understanding your strength and understanding your weakness. When you understand your strength, you know people that will be able to complement you. When you understand your weakness, you know the kind of people that will complement you. Okay, for instance, now, I have I have a friend that is very shy. He's not really the let's say the talking type. So he's kind of scared of like really engaging in conversation that much. But it is a very bad thing for him to have a friend like that also, especially when they're in somewhere that there is a need for somebody to like be the talking one, or the one that will like, let's say, do the talking or something like that. Yeah, it is just best for you to understand yourself and understand the kind of people that can complement who you are. When you know the kind of people and you're able to identify the kind of people that can complement who you are, it will make it easy for you. Like, it will be very easy for you to now know where to channel your energy and where you need others to complement you. So doing that will help you a lot, and you attract whatever you want. That's the truth. If you are the club type, for instance, you attract the club people. If you are the church type, you attract the church people. So it's just best. And again, another thing I will say for the last time before I just finish my own part of this talk is that uh, categorize your friend into different groups. For example, when we're on campus, there are some people that will categorize as if it is the church friends. When it comes to anything spiritual, church, these are my friends. When it comes to book friend, when it comes to anything academics, they might not necessarily be the same religion with you. They might not necessarily, but you know that this kind of person, when it comes to book, this is my book in friends. I say my book in friends, my friend when it comes to book. When it comes to, let's say, socials, to socialize with people, this is the type of person, this is my friend when it comes to socializing with people. Just categorize your friend accordingly. This will help you a lot to be able to blend in whatever, let's say, in whatever instance that you find yourself. So, and know what is best for you. There are some certain things that might look like a disadvantage, but it's actually to put you into check and balance. While there are some certain things that you need to like just work on. It might not be the bad one. People might not just understand you. People around you might not just understand you. So just try and understand the kind of person you are and the kind of people that can complement you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this webinar today. And I really want to appreciate our guest speaker, Miss Falola Oyinlola. I want to appreciate panelists, Mr. Akin Ayobami and Mr. Samson Owa. I hope I got that right.
What
Thank
did
you,
you say?
amazing student entrepreneurs. Mr.
It is
Samson Owa.
Owa. It
Is it
is
not
Owa.
correct? Oh,
Owa. Owa.
Owa. Okay. Owa. Okay. Pardon me. Anyways, I'm so grateful and I'm sure that we have all learned a lot. And I don't want us to just take it as, one of those webinars where we just come and then we hear all of the amazing things and then keep it away. Right from now, begin to just do like a self review and see what needs to change. If you need to put some structure to your business as a student entrepreneur, do that. If you need to delegate tasks, the truth is that you can always start from somewhere with delegation. You don't have to pay everyone, right? I remember when I started something in school, I had a friend who was a graphic designer, and there's a kind of relationship that you would have built over time, that when you have projects like this to do, because then I was doing Canva, I was trying to like in fact, the story is a long one, but this friend just decided to help in that regard, and it saved me a lot of things. I'm sure that if we can even ask for help. Most of us, we are always like, should I say, shy, or we don't just want to ask for help. There's no any wrong thing with asking for help, right? If you have any colleague, any friend, you can just say, talk it out with them. They understand that you are also a student, right? You can just work on some agreements. Okay, this will be it. I can help you do this. It can be like an exchange, but there is surely a way that you can delegate and make your life easier as a student entrepreneur. So once again, thank you so much. And I would like to remind us, I know that our guest talked about that book from Akin. Okay, I forgot his name. Akin Olamide, yes. Yeah,
Okay, I
I
love
think,
you.
yes, Akin Alavi, sorry, Akin Alavi. And I remember that we are reading one of his books on the student community. So if you are not a part of that community, this is a good opportunity. Make sure you join. I'm just going to drop a link right now in the chat section. So make sure you join the group if you haven't. And also invite people. You can share your status. You can even like send me a message and then ask for the link. Make sure that you invite people to join the group, right? I just sent the link and my number on this chat box, so you can just save it or screenshot it. Make sure you join the group if you haven't, then post on your status to invite more people. I'm sure you enjoyed tonight's own. We'll have another session next week. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a good time with you. And we are still preparing, we are still working on Hangout. I think the next one now is for Loud Tech. So if you're in Loud Tech, get ready. You're coming to your school. And God bless you. So by this, we call it an end. Any final notes from our guests, from our panelists, or from any other person, either the audience? What's one thing that you like to say? Do you want to appreciate them? It's just like last few minutes, 5 minutes for us to round up. So yeah. Any final notes from anyone?
All right, thank you so much, Soma and the Witstart Academy. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have been able to like share from my experience so far. And like Soma already said, like when we attend webinars like this, there's always that spark that we get from just hearing people talk. I know there's always that oh God, after this webinar I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But I know that a lot of us, or a lot of people, they find it difficult to execute tasks. So from after this call, you can just take about 10 minutes of your time tonight, try to write out the things that you think you've learned from this class, and write out a proper plan of how you think you can execute these things, so that it will not be as if they entered from your right ear and left from your left ear. So yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity.